السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة
الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله رحمة للعالمين. Last night we spoke about the water part. So tonight inshallah we'll talk about the cell phone part, if you remember. So last night we started to speak about this ayah from the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Tusiru fil ardi thumma anzuru." At least 13 times in the Quran this order is given in the Quran. Walk out, walk in the land, walk through the land, look around and see and learn. And it seems to me that some of our youth misunderstood this advice in the Quran last night, so they walked and they walked and walked and they ended up at Tim Hortons last night and they created a problem there and someone had to call the police. And I remember 2-3 nights ago I made this announcement that some of our youth, they hang out and they create problems outside, and they picked up a fight or a verbal fight with someone at Tim Hortons last night, and this is not what we're talking about. One of our brothers, who was an eyewitness, he stopped by to buy some coffee or something, and he heard some of the customers say, Muslims are not supposed to be here, they're supposed to be at the mosque. Throughout the year, we send out pamphlets, we invite people to the masjid, we do very good PR to, alhamdulillah, to spread awareness of Islam and teach people about our faith and how good we are, and in 5 minutes we just ruin everything. So again, this is a reminder, inshallah, to take care of our youth. If you bring them to the masjid, make sure, inshallah, they pray with us. Or if they are not interested in Salat or Taraweeh, they can sit upstairs or do whatever. But don't go outside and disturb people. If they call the police or they cause a problem, we are not responsible. You are responsible for them. We have nothing to do with them. Wallahu a'lam. So, as we said last night, this invitation is given in the Quran to walk out, to walk throughout the land and explore the creation of Allah, not to disturb or bother the creation of Allah, right? So always keep this in mind. We can learn from the different creation of Allah, the birds, the ants, the insects, the different creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, when we learn about other people and about other places in the world, we appreciate the little we have over here. So last night we spoke about the people who cannot afford to have clean water to drink, they don't have enough food to eat, and this is something that will help us appreciate the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are tornadoes in different places of the world, tsunamis, earthquakes. There was a heat wave yesterday and today in Pakistan, almost 1,000 people died. We don't have these things, so I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept all these brothers and sisters who died yesterday and today and give them Jannah in this month of Ramadan. We don't have these problems. We can come to Taraweeh every night and we can pray as much as we want. We have iftar every night. Some people don't have this luxury, right? They don't have masajid to start with because they were destroyed, as we said last night. If you go to the masjid, no one is going to shoot or kill you, right? If you wear the hijab, I'm talking about the sisters, or you have a beard, you come to the masjid, no one will bother you. There are some places in the Muslim world, I'm not talking about Russia or any communist, whatever, I'm talking about in some Muslim countries. If you wear the hijab, if you have a beard, if you go to the masjid, you will be in trouble. In Egypt, a few years ago in Tunisia, if you want to do i'tikaf or Taraweeh in the masjid, you have to apply for a permission, get a permit, a license from the government, and you have to go to the masjid closest to your house. You cannot just go to any masjid you want, right? But here, alhamdulillah, if you want to pray here, you want to go to Niagara Falls, you want to go to Hamilton, no one will bother you. Even Stephen Harper doesn't have this right to stop you from coming to Jummah or coming for Taraweeh. But in some Muslim countries, they are suffering just to go to the masjid and pray. So alhamdulillah, we don't have these problems, right? So what is stopping us from looking around and learning from the creation of Allah to appreciate the ni'mah we have? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about these different distractions in the Quran. There is an example given in Surah Al-Imran, Surah 3, زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the distractions like desires, like women and so on and so forth, children and money, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to talk about working hard to provide for your family because this is something you have to do. but you have to also give some time for your growth as a human being and some time for your family. The biggest distraction we have at this point in the 21st century, and has something to do with the phone, right? I'm talking to the youth and the people who use, social media. Most of you know what I'm talking about. All of us, or almost all of us, have this problem. Those who have phones, those who are on Facebook, they use Twitter and social media, right? So the youth know what I'm talking about, right? So somewhere between 3 to 5 or sometimes 7 hours a day are spent looking at the phone. This is what some people do. Families are not talking to each other anymore. They don't have time to read. They don't have time to look around, right? Before, like 3,000–4,000 years ago, the biggest thing for human beings was to look in the sky, and astronomy was a big thing. They used to look at the movements of the planets and the stars and all these things. Since the world is shrinking because we have what we call the international or the village, international village, whatever. So the world is getting very smaller until we ended up being locked up in our rooms and we're stuck to a phone, right? So people, they're not talking to each other. 25 years ago or 15 years ago, when the cell phones just came out, and you remember those days, those who lived in the 1990s, I remember those days. The first cell phone I had was as big as a shoe, right? But there was no internet, there was no Facebook, right? So we were talking to each other, families, children, whatever. But now, you're sitting around the table, each one has a cell phone or an iPad, right? They're as cheap as 50 bucks, right? And everyone is looking at the screen, they're not talking to each other, right? And our interests are becoming very trivial, actually. Like, people are posting things. I'm thinking seriously about leaving this all Facebook business altogether. People are posting things about themselves. Oh, my earring, or some people take pictures of their food just before they eat it. They take a picture and post it on Facebook. I did it once, like a year ago. I love shrimp, right? It looked good, but what is the point? Going to the washroom, taking off your shirt, taking a picture with your wife beater, right? What are you doing, man? Like 50 pictures every day. Who cares about, whatever? I'm serious about these things. We're wasting a lot of time on these things. And we have reached the point of social media hypocrisy. Like, you post things and you get like sad or mad if people don't like your postings, right? So you post things, so you expect people to like it or comment on it, and people don't read whatever you post in there. They just hit like so they don't bother you, right? People just hit like, they don't read what you're posting. I remember, like about a month or two ago, I put calligraphy, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, a brother or a sister passed away, and I got like 50 likes. I don't know what people are liking. Someone died, I don't know what you like about them dying, right? You like the fact that they died, or you like the fact that I'm posting that they're dead. And one person said, oh, mashallah, nice calligraphy. Come on, people, what are you talking about, right? Someone died, right? So people basically, they don't read, they just like it, and khalas, no one is interested, right? I'm going to conclude with this small story. There is this wife who is always complaining about her husband. He doesn't talk to her anymore. He's always on Facebook. Before he sleeps, whenever he wakes up in the morning, he just looks at his phone. He's always on Facebook. And as I say in the story, she found the magic lamp. She rubbed it, and the genie came out. And she said to the genie, I want to get my husband back. I'm losing him. We're not talking, right? I want him to always look at the brightness of my face every day. I want to be the last thing that he looks at before he goes to bed. And I want to be the first thing he looks at when he wakes up in the morning. The genie said, your wish is granted, and he turned her into an iPhone 6, right? So in this case, her husband looks at her face all the time, right? Khalas, we'll continue tomorrow. I'm mad already. Okay, so the question